everyone, and welcome to the Culture Cast. I am your host, Chris Dashew, and I am joined once again by the immensely talented Jess Byard. Hello.
Hello.
Hello, and we are kicking off Horrotober 2001, A Horror Odyssey, which technically isn't about movies in 2001. It's about movies in 2000. Fuck you. We're sticking with it. I don't care. Whatever. Sue me. It's my own podcast. What are you going to do? Take me to court? With a look at a film that, well, it's a film, and someone made it, and people were in it.
Jeffrey Wright.
Yeah. And that film is called Cherry Falls.
I remember the story like this. It was a dark and scary night, kind of like tonight.
25 years ago, a horrible crime was committed in the town of Cherry Falls. Now...
You haven't heard about Rod and Stacy?
Did they break up?
Break up! Wake up! They're dead!
What their parents hid in the past.
Nobody has seen or heard of her for over 25 years.
Mom, do you know anything about a woman named Laura Lee Sherman?
No. Why?
Is haunting the present.
Who is it?
Is your mom home?
No.
She didn't tell you I was coming by.
4 teenagers have been killed, a 5th viciously attacked.
All victims appeared to be virgins.
Everyone's decided to take themselves off the endangered species list and have sex.
I need to ask you a personal question. About how far you've gone, base-wise? Can you go further?
Tell me about Laura Lee Sherman. Tell me.
That was 25 years ago.
Do you think she goes all the way?
Doubt it.
You gotta come. Come on.
This is my post. I can't just split.
Cherry Falls.
Don't you want your first time to be something beautiful, something romantic?
The film is directed by Jeffrey Wright, written by Ken Selden, stars, rest in peace, One Love, Brittany Murphy, Jay Moore, Michael Biehn. Those are the people you're going to recognize. And the film is about a small town called Cherry Falls, where a psychotic murderer is killing off, and I quote, virgins, and only virgins, because movies, because of dumb shit. Because this is a movie, and it exists in a world that is not our own, so sure, their modus operandi is, we kill virgins. So, Jess, you helped me program this month. I am curious, why? Why in God's name did you pick Cherry Falls?
Yes. All right, so I have a soft spot for movies like Urban Legend that came out around this time. As a kid, I loved the concept of urban legends. Couldn't get enough of them. Loved to read them. Wanted to grow up and be a writer and write urban legends until I realized that's not how that really works. But movies like this are how that sort of does work. And Cherry Falls is... So I sort of picked the year 2000 because it's obviously the year before 2001 and after 2001, and namely after 9/11 happened. A lot of things changed, movie-wise, entertainment-wise, things that you were seeing on screen and just general themes and tones, and everything really sort of changed hardcore. But in 2000, we're still in this really naive world where we're just gonna make whatever the hell movie we want to make. I can't remember, honestly, the first time I saw this movie. It came out in 2000, so I was 10. I know my friends and I rented it on some, whatever weekend hangout. So
but
probably
you rented it
12
in a physical capacity, not
yes,
on
I went to
iTunes.
Right, I went to a video store with my friends and we rented it. Probably
Video
Blockbuster.
Store?
Probably Blockbuster.
I don't understand the concept. There was a place at one point where they had a place where you would go and rent things, not buy them?
Nope. Just
Weird.
rent. Just take them and then bring them back. I know, novel concept. Kind of don't.
You mean
really
like a library you pay for?
I mean, I pay for the library all the time because I suck at returning things on time. But
That's your own choice.
That's neither here nor there. So, yeah, I probably saw this movie when I was like 12 or 13. And I don't know, man. It just is. It's one of the ones that for some reason I really like. I like it in its campiness and its absurdity. I feel like Cherry Falls is probably one of the... For me, I like slashers. I like the subgenre. I've seen a ridiculous amount of them throughout the years. And this one, to me, is one of the few from this era that I think really captures just the pure surreal and absurdity of those movies in, like, the 70s and early 80s, where your killer is just this grotesque caricature and the plot is completely obscene, just absolutely ridiculous. But it has, I don't know, there's nothing really mean-spirited too much about it that I think other movies from this time sort of fall victim to, where they want to make everybody really super unlikable and fake and plastic. And yeah, you have a lot of those characters in this movie. That's to be expected. You're in a movie full of teenagers, and there's going to be shitty teenagers. But you care about Brittany Murphy more so in this movie. And especially, I mean, once you get farther into the movie and you find out why this killer is doing what he or she is doing, and we'll just spoiler alert, it's a he, is doing, once you find that out, that adds a whole other layer of, like, just, I don't know, turmoil for this character that Brittany Murphy is playing. And she's just, I don't know, it's a weird concept for a movie to have, hey, everyone, let's say this killer is killing teenagers, but only when they're virgins. So what's our reasonable situation to fix this? Let's have a party where we all have sex. That's insane. That is, to me, this is a prime example of what I'm talking about for the year 2000, where things were still a little bit, you could still kind of get away with a lot of stuff. And having a movie, there's no way this movie could get made in 2019. Holy shit. There's no way you could have a movie.
Every fucking group would be up in arms about something. And rightfully so, let's be honest. I
mean, yeah, fair. It's a sensitive topic, that's for sure. But hey, it's also, you know what, teenagers have sex. Sorry if you think they don't. I don't know what to tell you, but they do. And this movie at least acknowledges that, and it acknowledges it in a kind of humorous way. I think that a lot of this movie is definitely tongue-in-cheek. I know Jeffrey Wright, he intended to be the case, more snarky, sort of everything done with a wink and a nod. It didn't really,
which it clearly is.
It is, and some of it, I don't know, some of that tone might be a little lost. I was reading some of the turmoil that they had on set. I mean, they had like a 30-day shoot schedule, which is insane.
I think a lot of that is attributed to Brittany Murphy not being a good actress.
Well,
like, she doesn't sell that this is not serious. Maybe, you know what it is? Actually, I take that back. Maybe Brittany Murphy is too good of an actress.
I like Brittany Murphy. I mean, I like her in Girl Interrupted.
I take that back. She's a great actress. She doesn't know how to sell what they're trying to sell, which is like, this is if Scream was written by someone who's stupid. Like, it really is like dumb Scream. Because it's like, it's subverting horror movie tropes. I mean, normally in horror movies, if and when you have sex, your death is imminent. Mm-hmm. Think about any of the fucking Friday the 13th movies with the goddamn horse strap, or Kevin Bacon getting speared through the throat. I mean, they just had sex and now they're dead. In this movie, it's like, how do you survive? By fucking.
Yep.
But it's not written by Kevin Williamson, so it's not written by someone who understands how to write a story that is well written. It's written by someone who's like, yeah, that one thing, let's focus on that.
Yeah, it really is. So the general gist of Cherry Falls is, it opens with two kids in a car making out. Guy wants to have sex, girl says no. He convinces her. He wears her down.
A pre-2000 thing, by the way. Pre-2000, which like has not aged well.
No, wearing her down is not a good thing. If you think it is, you are mistaken.
Yeah, I want my first time to be with you. Like, ugh.
Right, and then so that doesn't happen. Basically, the killer comes, and it's the sort of Hook death urban legend that we all know. But then you learn later on that the reason this is happening is because it's much like Nightmare on Elm Street, where there was a town secret in where some adults, not adults, they're adults now. Sins of the father, yeah. When Brittany Murphy's dad, who is Michael Biehn and now the sheriff, was a teenager, and also the principal was his friend, they were all teenagers, they raped a
Not just
young
raped,
woman.
gang raped.
Gang raped a young woman, and left her for dead, I guess.
I'm not sure. They don't
left her to suffer. Left her to be in a mental. They don't really go too much into what
they
happened
didn't
after
kill
that.
her. They just raped her.
Right. They didn't kill her, and then you find out later on the killer is not actually the woman, but the bastard son of, I guess, Michael Biehn is the last one. So he gets to be dad.
Sure. Okay. That's
but you
not
know
how
what?
that works, but all right.
This whole time, this movie is making you like Michael Bihn's in the whole damn thing, like pretty much, and he's the sheriff that you're following around, trying to figure out who's murdering these teenagers, and he's played off as primarily a good guy, just your standard whatever small town sheriff, just trying to take care of the town. And then you find out that he actually was involved, and you're kind of waiting for that moment where they're like, oh, but he didn't actually do it because he was so drunk and he told them to stop, but they wouldn't stop and whatever. No, he actually did it. And then you're like, oh, okay, so I guess now, wow,
And who is he married to in the movie? Mary Lou from The Man Who Fell to Earth. Candy Clark, of all people.
Candy Clark, who is doing, she's
doing her best, what's the actress from Nightmare on Elm Street? She's doing
Nancy's mom, where she's just drinking the whole time.
Yeah, she's doing the Nancy's mom thing.
Kind of also hitting on Brittany Murphy's shitty off again boyfriend.
What the fuck was that scene?
So the main issue for Brittany Murphy is she's still a virgin, and her boyfriend wants to have sex, but she wants to wait, and he gets all huffy at the beginning of it and breaks up with her. And then, her mom comes out, is like, oh, hey, Billy, or whatever the fuck your name is, can I bum a cigarette? My husband doesn't like me to smoke inside, so I'll have to smoke it out here with you.
Kenny Ascot.
Kenny, Billy, Kenny, whatever.
Same fucking difference. She wants to bang Brittany Murphy's boyfriend, right?
I guess, that's very heavily implied, but you never go back to that. It's really very strange.
I want to suck your dick, I'm going to suck on the end of this cigarette instead.
Right. It's really strange that you think that... I know that there was a lot of this movie that did end up getting cut.
Well, this movie was submitted how many times to the MPAA, and they kept rejecting it? Over and over again.
In the climactic scene where the teens end up having their big orgy party, Jeffrey Wright decided that he was going to... I think they rewrote that scene a couple times, and he decided to shoot the scene with the cast nude, which...
Originally it was supposed to be like under a white sheet.
Yeah, but instead they're all very... I mean, you don't see anything. It's entirely cut. This movie is cut to shreds. For some reason, I remember... This is one thing that I did remember differently. I thought that this movie was a lot gorier than it actually is.
It's really not. For an R-rated film, it is pretty subdued.
Yeah, they pretty much just cut away from every kill. And the ending sequence where the killer is running through basically an orgy, and there's just people naked running all over the place. It was a large amount of that was cut, obviously.
He's running through an orgy with 2 knives, stabbing people to fucking death.
Yeah.
Cutting them up to death.
Yeah. This is a gnarly slasher, and it could be so much... honestly, that's my biggest gripe with this, is that so much of the gore was, chopped out of it.
really chopped out, like forcibly
it's that
removed.
Standard 2000s, 2001 kind of glossier, not as glossy and shiny as like I Know What You Did Last Summer.
It reminds me of Valentine.
Yes, it is very much on the same level of Valentine, which I also enjoy and is also trash.
Valentine falls into the category of like, oh god, like it has that twist at the end that's like feels so stupid.
The twist that's not a twist.
Yeah, exactly. Like there's one male character in the movie.
Who
of
could it
course he's the
possibly be?
villain.
Yeah.
Like right. Like
And that's
fuck you.
and this movie's the exact same way. It's incredibly formulaic. You know who the killer is pretty much to begin with, or you at least know that the killer is not a woman. They try to make you believe that it's the woman that Michael Biehn and his friends gang raped back in the 80s. But
I mean, I texted
it's
you
a man
like
the
10
whole
minutes
time.
into the movie, and I was like, pretty sure the killer in this movie is a guy because they haven't shown his face yet.
Right, and he walks all like weird and lumbery, except for when they do like close-ups of the hands. Then I think it's actually a woman.
Yeah, and tries to do like a female voice too, and it like does not work at all.
No, it does not. But I don't know. There's still something about it, and even watching it now, I'm like, I still like this movie, and I think it's because it, like I said, it calls back to that just grimy, weird, fucking surreal place that like B-level, C-level slasher movies live, and I like that place. But no, in 2019, it does not age well at all. It is very...
So, before I give my thoughts on the film, since you mentioned Valentine, did you know that Valentine was based off of a book?
I did. Isn't it the same writer of I Know What You Did Last Summer?
Is it?
Which is also books?
Is it? Oh,
I don't remember. It might be, but I did know it was based on a book.
Which is astounding. So, look, I had never seen this movie before. Jess, you picked it, and you were like, Cherry Falls, you should do that. And I was like, okay, I know nothing about this movie. I knew nothing about it other than Brittany Murphy was in it, which, when you're watching a movie with an actor who passed away recently in the last 15 years, it's kind of weird because you're like, oh, geez. These kind of movies came out in my lifetime and they've passed away. And, I mean, she was in a lot of stuff post Cherry Falls.
8 Mile and Girl Interrupted are probably
What about Made in Manhattan? Not Made in Manhattan. Oh, God. What's the other
J-Lo.
one? Yeah, that's J-Lo. What's the one where she's like a nanny?
I know
You know what I'm talking about? With like Dakota Fanning or Abigail Breslin or some shit?
One of those child actors that's not a child.
One of those
Yeah.
child... Excuse me, which one of you is the one who was in this film? Uptown Girls. That's what it was called.
Yep.
I saw that shit in theaters. So...
Why?
I don't... no idea. So all I knew was Brittany Murphy was in it. That's fine, whatever. Look, as much as you liked this movie, I probably liked it just as much. It's so stupid. It's like, really, really, it revels in how fucking dumb it is.
And it knows.
And that's
It's
the thing.
not trying to be...
It's not
It's
serious.
not trying to take itself seriously, and that's what I do agree with your point that Brittany Murphy does feel like she's in a different movie. It feels like she's trying a little too hard. Like, you're doing too well at your job right now.
Cast Anna Faris or somebody who gets this, because...
That one scene in where she... I don't even know why.
Is this
is
the
in this
toe-sucking
movie.
scene?
Yes.
Are you bringing... Oh, my God.
Kenny, where she and Kenny, I guess, are back together for a minute. And they're sitting in bed, like, giving each other foot rubs, like teenagers do, I guess.
I don't know. Did teenagers do that? I didn't get one.
I didn't do that.
No, sure.
And then all of a sudden, like, he's rubbing her foot, and she, like, starts to tell him to, like, bite her foot or bite her
my
toe.
Harder.
And then
harder.
keeps, like, smacking him in the face with her other foot, which is hysterical. And so I don't know, like maybe I think that scene she was kind of like, all right, you know what, fuck it.
Yeah, I mean that scene.
I'm done trying to make this movie into something that it's not. I'm just going to embrace it.
Yeah, that scene is oddly erotic in like the bizarrest way. I don't know. Ken Selden, this is the last movie he wrote. He's not Kevin Williamson. He understands the fallacies of the slasher genre, which are like, oh, you get murdered if you have sex. Oh, you get murdered if you're into drugs. You get if you get murdered if you're into if you're a neglected teenager. But you can't have that be the sole fucking like motivation in the film. Like, it just doesn't work that way. Especially if nobody in the movie is buying into that being the idea that, like, oh yeah, so you have to have sex to survive. They find that out way too late. Like, this movie is almost, I shit you not, this movie is almost a carbon copy of Scream. Like, you have a pretty well-known actor dying in the first couple minutes, Jesse Bradford, who was pretty big at the time. Mm-hmm. You got all this stuff that, like, it's weird to me that this movie isn't more well-known, but at the same time, I know why it's not. Because, like, the final act of the film is kind of problematic. Like,
I mean, the whole idea of the film is pretty problematic. I mean, they have the whole assembly in it themselves where they gather all the parents, and this is how you find out pretty early on at the beginning, like, what the motivation of the killer. And honestly, they jump to the motivation of the killer pretty quickly. Obviously, they're right because it's the movie, but it's like they kill, like, what, maybe 3 people. The killer kills 3 people, and then they decide they realize they're all virgins, and they're like, that must be the thing. That must be what he's doing.
That's the one thing.
But he's
okay.
But they're teenagers. Like, realistically, probably a majority of people were virgins in high school, even if they were saying they weren't. Like,
hands up, yeah. I mean, if you had killed me when I was fucking 16. Like, yeah, dude,
right?
Kill me. I'm a fucking virgin. Kill me. I don't care.
Exactly.
You got
me. So
I
feel like that the cops and everybody in this town make that connection really.
They all had
much
brown
too fast.
hair. Okay.
Right. Killing all the brunettes. That's it. And so they have this assembly where they gather all the parents and they want to tell them what their theory is, and the parents are like, "What? So we're just supposed to have our kids go get laid?" And it's like, well, yeah, that's kind of the plot of this movie, I guess, isn't it?
Yes, it sure is.
But it still manages to do it in a way that I don't think is overly creepy. You know what I mean? Like, I don't sense there's no leering through the camera, I don't think. I don't really see that. Like, there's no intentional gross, like, nothing comes through that, other than the concept is strange itself, but I don't get any weird feelings from, like, behind the camera. Any weird vibes being pushed out.
But again, like, ultimately at the end of the day, you have a killer in this film who is Jay Moore in drag.
Yep.
And it's not...
Yelling, "Class dismissed," and then stabbing the ever-loving shit out of a bunch of teenagers.
Which, by the way, is fucking great, but... Like, I texted you while I was watching the movie. I was like, "Oh, Jay Moore is the killer," and you were like, "Maybe." And I was like, "You know what? Like, you know what? Like, you know why he's the killer? He's the killer because there's no other male characters in the movie who it could possibly be."
Right.
Especially when it goes, "Oh, by the way, Brittany Murphy, your dad was one of the men who possibly raped this character." Like, I thought for a minute, I was like, maybe it's her dad. Nope, it's clearly not her dad. So it's got to be Jay Moore, who's like the only other character in this film that anyone has put any amount of time into. And that's fine. You don't have to make a horror movie or a slasher film that is like intentionally making it hard for you to figure out who the killer is.
No, and I mean, that's pretty much a slasher movie.
Yeah, when the reveal comes, it's like, what? Why is he dressing up like a woman to begin with? Like, that's never explained.
Because, I mean, I guess you're supposed to think that because that's his mom was the one that they gang raped, and she, I don't know, does he say what happens to her? Does she, like, kill herself or something at some point? Or goes crazy? Or whatever? And then he's, like, supposed to be avenging her, so he's dressing like her. It's very, I don't know, I guess it's
not
kind of
good.
like a psycho thing, if that's what he was kind of going for. I don't know.
I guess, but like it's not good. It hasn't aged well. And seeing Jay Moore in drag, being like, "Oh, he's the drag killer," like, ugh.
But honestly, that's
for the least of this film's problems. Like,
for me, that's something that I actually. It harkens back to those just like really weird slasher killers that they had.
It's like Sleepaway Camp, right?
Sleepaway Camp, or Maniac, or just the B, C level slashers, where the killers are just outrageous. It actually, you know what, this movie is really, really. I get a lot of Euro trash feeling from it, like some Italian horror and just that, I don't know, that I get some of those vibes and some of that feeling that maybe that was a little bit because there's a lot of those movies, like a lot of Italian movies where the killer ends up just being a dude in drag.
I mean, again, like, it's not that I don't like it. It's just, in 2019...
Yeah, 2019 goggles, it does not hold up. But if you can watch things and separate them from the time that you live in, then you should be fine.
Yeah, no, I like I said, I mean, this really is like dumb Scream. And you know what? I'm okay. I'm okay with that. Like, I really am. Like, it's fun and it's stupid. It's really stupid. And I just wish that it had turned more into it being stupid.
I wish there had been more gore. I think I wish.
Well, that too. I mean, that goes without saying, right? I think for an R-rated movie, it's pretty fucking neutered.
Oh yeah, I mean, it's really only at this. I guess it's really only rated R for like the little bit of blood that you see, probably language, and then the whole concept of it being a movie about teenagers having to have sex.
Is that R-rated worthy?
I think it's probably like, we don't want people to see your movie, so let's put an R rating on it.
Well, that's a different story. And the thing about this movie I don't know is, like, did it just get ignored when it came out?
I don't know. I mean, I'm like I said, it came out in 2000, so I was 10. I don't really know what the box office... it probably did. I think it failed pretty miserably.
Hold on. It was never picked up for theatrical release, and it was telecasted. So.
Oh, well, there you go. It was totally ignored.
so
100% ignored.
It literally never came out.
Wow. That's a shame. That's such
so it became the most expensive television film ever made. It had a budget of $14 million, and it was shown on USA Network. So, yeah.
Damn, did I not rent this? How did I see this as a kid? I don't know.
You may have rented it, but it never was in theaters.
Well, I know that it has a cult following now. And obviously because Scream Factory put it out, so some people like it. I think it's got like a nice little home in the horror, like a nice little collection of people that like it for what it is in the horror community.
Yeah, it feels like, I mean, look, you've got a movie like Scream, which has a fair amount of, I mean, Scream's not that gory, but in the first 5 minutes of the movie, you do get to see a character's guts.
Yeah, that's true. And I mean, Scream as well, while it is still obviously very meta and doesn't take itself entirely seriously, it's still more of a serious tone. Like, the stakes seem higher. Like, these are like, people are dying and they're really sad about it.
Well, in this movie, have like a connection to the characters in Scream.
Right. In this movie, it's like Brittany Murphy and her super flamboyant friend, and then all these like dude bros that they're kind of friends with, that just keep appearing in and out. You never really get to spend any time with anybody who's not Brittany Murphy, pretty much. And when you do get to, you don't really want to spend time with them because they're all pretty shitty.
Yeah, I feel, look, I mean, I don't think I'm speaking out of turn here. Scream, for me, probably for you, is like, it is a contemporary classic. And
absolutely.
This film seems to like take the things from Scream that weren't the best and run with those things.
Yeah, and I think that's part of the charm for me. That's part of what works
you shouldn't have sex. Okay, so let's just run with that. It's like, what? No, is that what you're picking up from Scream? Like, that one thing? Like, what the fuck?
One of those rules?
Yeah, like that's what you're picking up? Like,
but you don't want to make a whole movie based on like the I'll be back rule.
That's true. So you make it off of the fucking teenagers.
Hey, sex sells, baby. Sex sells.
Does it?
Well, evidently not for this movie.
No. Does it make you sad to know that the guy who played Kenny Ascot, Gabriel Mann, is almost 50 years old?
Wow.
Oof,
really?
Right? Ooh, boy.
Wow.
That's...
Well, I mean, I guess he probably was like... He's almost 50? How fucking old is he in that movie?
47. He's 47 in real life. He was born in 72, so what's 2000 minus...
So he was like...
He was almost 30 in that fucking movie.
He was my age.
Yeah.
now.
Yeah, he's younger than us. Boy, he looks good for that age when he was that age.
He looks good for almost 50.
Yeah. And again, it's not because of the casting. I find it weird that they bill DJ Qualls in the poster for the film when he's in it, like, not at all.
Right.
Like, does he even have a speaking role in this fucking movie?
Maybe.
No, I don't think he does.
No, I think you're right. I don't think he does.
I think if this movie had amped up the gore, amped up the camp, and had an actress in the lead role who understood what they were going for, rather than being an actually talented actress, this would have been something just fucking weird. Like, this would have been really something people would have remembered.
I think so. I think you're right. Honestly, you know who I think they... I was going to say she might have been too old, but it probably doesn't matter, really. I could have definitely seen, like, Jennifer Tilly in this role.
Jennifer Tilly? Yeah. How many years removed is this from Bride of Chucky?
Bride of Chucky would have been, like, right around this time, I think.
Was it? Yeah, I think it was, like, 2001, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Chucky. Oh, it was 98, so it was right before this.
Wow. Yeah, I think she would have been too old.
Probably. But I can still see her in that, like, just that camp, just up in that campiness, and honestly, it would be hilarious to see her play, like, a mousy virgin. Like, okay.
You know who would have been perfect? Anna Faris.
I could see that.
Like, Anna Faris, which, by the way, this was pre-Scary Movie. This is, like, the same year as Scary Movie. So, I mean, it would have worked. Brittany Murphy is, like, too good of an actress for this movie.
I mean, I think she's just a different type of an actress for this movie.
I don't think she's someone who understands what this is, not someone who's, like, bringing the actress, the actor credibility to the role.
Right, and she's definitely funny and goofy and clueless, and she, you know, and... But I don't know.
She's got that, like, 2000s emo pixie girl bob.
Right.
Not going to complain about that.
And pouty, and yeah, she's super cute, obviously.
And she's very cute.
But it's just, she's a very blank slate in this movie. And I think they probably, I mean, from what I understand of the actual production, it was super tense, it was super behind schedule, and they didn't have a lot of money to begin with, and they kept going over budget. So I imagine that they probably were just like, okay, you're probably the most seasoned actor or skilled actor, I don't know, on this set, so just do whatever you think is right, because we have other shit we need to worry about. I think she was just like, okay, well, I'm just gonna do this then.
Why did they take Brittany Murphy and not Kim Kardashian?
I know, right?
Kim Kardashian is still here, and Brittany Murphy is gone. So here's the thing: Brittany Murphy died of pneumonia.
She died of pneumonia? I thought she died of
32.
Like from complications of something, or just
I think
just
so.
Pneumonia?
It says her primary case of death was pneumonia.
Man,
God, what a bummer.
That is a bummer. She died in like 2009, right? Like a year after I graduated high school.
And then her husband, a year later, was found fucking dead.
Yeah, I remember that. That was crazy.
And he had fucking pneumonia too.
That's weird.
There was toxic mold in the house.
There was toxic mold in the house?
Yeah.
Holy shit. Wow. That's awful.
Yeah. Like, what is that about?
Man, now this is a sad cast.
This is a really sad cast. This ain't no culture cast. This is a sad cast. I mean, look, ultimately, at the end of the day, this movie has been re-released on what? Scream Factory? Like last year, this year, a couple of years ago? Yes. So it hasn't been lost. It didn't get released. It's not a great movie, but it is a fun movie. And that in and of itself is more important than it being a good movie. Look, I'm a huge proponent of thinking, look, some of my favorite movies, there's no way anyone would go out on the limb and be like, this is a fantastic film. I want you to watch this movie. No, it's like, I fucking love this movie. It's stupid. It's dumb. It's a lot of fun. Please go watch it and revel in it. Enjoy how stupid it is. Those are my kinds of movies. Like, this is not one of those.
If you're looking for, it's October, right? And everybody's having their Halloween movie nights.
If not, I'm worried.
Things like that. Everyone's having their Halloween movie nights and all that shit. Have your friends over. If you haven't watched this movie, put it on. It's different. It's at least different. It's funny. The concept is ridiculous. You will at least not be bored.
Like, think about the premise. Like, one of the main parts of Ace Ventura, a transsexual villain, and translate that to a straight horror movie, and that's Cherry Falls. You just don't find out until the end of the movie.
Right.
Or I guess cross-dressing. Jay Moore's character is a cross-dresser, not a transsexual.
Right.
It's still funny to see Jay Moore in a wig. It is just... And you know what? and heels. And you know what the other thing about this movie that cracks me up is the turn comes so fast. There's like monologue leading up to it. It's just like, your dad's in there. What? Oh, my dad is in this fucking Foot Locker. Like, what the fuck?
And now he's dead. Yeah, and then they straight up like kill Michael Biehn, who's Michael Biehn's probably the most well-known actor in this at the time.
They kind of kill him off screen, kind of.
Well, they kill like everybody off screen. Like you see the weapon, whatever they're being killed with, go down, and then it's like cut.
Class dismissed.
Class fucking dismissed.
Class dismissed. Which, by the way, that is a fantastic like one-liner for a villain to say. Let's not kid ourselves.
Oh yeah.
Class dismissed. But it's more of like a Jay Moore high bitch. Class dismissed. Like, oh dear God. Look, it's a fun movie. It's a dumb movie. Do not go into it thinking, I'm finding the next Scream. And I've never seen Urban Legend, but I'm assuming this is better than Urban Legend?
I don't know. I think Urban Legend actually...
It has Robert Englund in it, right?
Urban Legend is probably a more, like, fluid and fully fleshed out story. I think, like you said, like, this movie does kind of, like, end pretty abruptly. And it does. You don't really get to know anybody.
Like, the villain's motivation comes out of practically nowhere.
Right. And I mean, Urban Legend is pretty predictable in who the killer is too, but I enjoy getting there a lot. And again, you get like a lot of really fun kills because they're all based on urban legends. And they're a bit more gory than this is.
And Jared Leto, a.k.a. the Joker, is in that movie.
Yeah, and he gets killed.
Good, because he fucking sucks. Fuck you, Jared Leto. I'm saying it right here. Fuck you, Jared. I hate you, Jared Leto.
Yeah, if you double featured,
sending bastard.
If you double featured Cherry Falls and Urban Legend, to me that would be a good fun.
Wouldn't you just double feature Urban Legend and Urban Legend 2?
No, don't.
Oh, is the second one that
bad?
Is not good. Or is it called Urban Legend Final Cut?
I think it is.
And what is the third one called?
Is there a third one?
Urban Legend Bloody Mary, released in 2005.
I feel like they just put Urban Legend on that and said that it was related to it.
I mean, weren't we saying that about Creepshow 3? Isn't that pretty much the same thing?
And they do that a lot with like Italian horror movies too, where they're just like The Exterminator was a series that was like The Exterminator 2. They just called it that to crib on other movies that sounded similar.
But Urban Legend 3 has Kate Mara in it.
Oh, well. She's fine.
She is fine. I don't know if you meant it that way, but she is fine. Rooney Mara, on the other hand, Girl with the Dragon Tattoo. Now that is a film worth searching out. I don't know how hard it is to find considering how it's a fucking David Fincher movie, but, go look for that if that's the thing you're looking for. I don't dislike this movie. I actually had a lot of fun. And I'm glad that I watched it because, again, it never got a theatrical release.
Yeah, that's pretty crazy.
It reminds me of a movie that we were supposed to cover last month and we didn't, Theodore Rex, which ended up being what is analogous to this film as the most expensive direct-to-video film.
Whew.
This is the most expensive direct-to-TV movie, which is crazy. It's so weird.
I had no idea. I totally missed that little tidbit.
And it's a big tidbit, though. The movie never went to theaters. It just went to USA Network, and that's it. And then it got released to DVD, and then Scream Factory in 2015 was like, we're going to release this next year.
And everyone was like, yeah, that's fine.
Which, let's be honest here, kudos to Scream Factory, Shout Factory, Arrow Video, Vinegar Syndrome for, digging up these old movies that ostensibly nobody gives a shit about and re-releasing them.
Yeah, on really, they look nicer than they ever. Some of these movies look nicer than they ever could have dreamed of looking in these restorations that they do.
Sometimes 4K, but definitely on Blu-ray. It's a labor of love what they're doing to bring these movies kind of further along than they were, because, I mean, everybody knows in fucking 2000, if this was being, you know, sent over the fucking air to a USA network, it did not look good. But the version I watched looked pretty goddamn good. And I know the version you watched directly from the Blu-ray looked pretty goddamn good.
It really did.
So,
and there is like a commentary, which I have not watched, but I should, because I'm sure that it's pretty entertaining.
Is it with Jeffrey Wright?
Yes, it is.
He's probably just like, why did my movie not get released?
I'm so glad people like it now.
Yeah, thanks, assholes, after the fact. Oh, God. So what would you give Cherry Falls out of 5?
I give it a solid 3 out of 5. I mean, it's like it's not a great movie, but it's a fun movie that I revisit probably once every few years.
When someone's like, have you heard of this movie Cherry Falls? And you're like, I've seen it. I own it. Let me go home and watch it.
Pretty much.
Yeah, so my first time watching it, I give it like a 3.5. It's dumb. It's real dumb. It's really, really dumb. It's really, really, really dumb. Like, I can't impress upon you, the listener, how fucking stupid this movie is, but that works in its favor.
It does. It's one of those moments where it's like, that's fine. It's totally fine that it's dumb.
It's just unfortunate that not everyone else got the memo that it was supposed to be fucking dumb. I mean, I'm not looking for scary movie levels of fucking stupidity. I mean, this is not a parody of the genre. It is a send-up and kind of poking fun at the genre in a way that Scream did. But Scream obviously is much more well-written film than this film. And also it has Wes Craven behind it, which means it's going to get fucking theatrical release, unlike this film. So it's dumb, it's fun, but ultimately it is dumb. And I think that's the big takeaway, is like, it's a dumb horror movie, but God, it's a charmingly stupid movie.
Yes, there's a lot worse you could watch this Halloween season. And if you've never seen this, I'd just check it out. It's fun, it's dumb fun, and...
But emphasis on the dumb. It's real dumb. But that ain't bad. There's not a bad thing about being stupid. Ain't nothing wrong with being dumb. You can.
It's a movie that knows exactly what it is, and that helps it.
Yeah. It's just too bad that the actors in the film did not know that that's what the directors were going for.
Yeah. Some of them.
All right, so we'll take a break and we'll play a preview for the next Culture Cast.
I got this feeling. This weird feeling.
The cabin starts to shake, right? And the left side blows up, and then the whole plane just explodes. The plane's gonna explode! It's not a joke! It's not a joke!
We get thrown off the plane all because Brownie has a bad dream?
I saw it.
The plane! It's gonna blow up! It's gonna blow up!
All 287 passengers are feared dead.
Because of you, I'm still alive.
In death, there are no accidents. No coincidences. And no escapes.
Did it happen again? Did you see Todd die?
What if it was our time? What if we were not meant to get off that plane? What if there is a design, then it's not finished?
By walking off the plane, you're cheating death. You have to figure out when it's coming back at you.
What are you, God now?
He knows which one of us is next.
You have a responsibility to tell me.
I knew I should have hit on Tammy in the pool that time.
I'm not gonna let it happen, okay?
Nobody has control over life and death. Unless they are taking lives and causing death. Now, can you promise me that no one else is going to die?
Get out!
I'll see you soon.
That's right, on the next Culture Cast, we're going to be taking a look at yet another film that is pre-2001. A film that you might not even realize came out in 2001. It stars Devon Sawa. Yes, Devon Sawa of The Fanatic, Final Destiny. Was he an Idle Hands? Was that what Devon Sawa was also in?
No, that's Seth Green.
But wait, Seth Green was also in that movie, but Devon Sawa wasn't in that movie also?
Is he? I don't know. I don't remember. It's been a long time since I've seen Idle Hands. But he's also in some made-for-TV movie called Night of the Twisters.
Devon Sawa was in Idle Hands.
Was he?
Holy shit, but Seth Green was also in Idle Hands. Oh, why are we watching Idle Hands? Devon Sawa was the main character in Idle Hands.
When did that movie come out?
1999.
Well, that's why. Because we're watching 2000s movies.
Mr. Sawa. Devon Sawa, known for playing the human version of who? Casper the Ghost.
Oh, yeah.
That's right. And they float into the air together?
That's true. And he says, can I keep you?
Why did you have to say that?
Yep.
Oh, God. It's so creepy. Oh, God. Oh. You know, Casper is a children's film, but it's so creepy. Can I keep you?
Get the fuck out of my face, you dead boy.
Out of here, you creepy dead bastard. Can I keep you?
Oh, no.
Excuse me as I freeze up and start vomiting because I want you to stay away from me. So we're talking about Final Destination, a film that spawned, 7 other goddamn films.
Yep.
Those of which are varying quality, and some of them are bad, some of them are real bad, some of them are good, some of them aren't. But Final Destination, the first one, is good.
Yes, it is.
It also helps that it was a fucking X-Files episode that was turned into a movie, so... But, until then, where can people find you, Jess?
You can find me on Twitter at WriterJessByard, and you can also find me on our podcast, The One Season Show, where we talk about shows that lasted only one season, and we are halfway through Fox's 1987 Werewolf. 'Tis the season. If you haven't checked it out already, may as well start now.
And I can't wait for Werewolf to be over.
Yeah, check out our podcast. You don't have to watch the show.
Yeah, listen to the podcast. Watching the show is a secondary endeavor. Because we're doing God's work for you. We're watching it for you so you don't have to. So you can just get like the 5-minute synopsis of these 25-minute long episodes. Jesus Christ. You can find me on Twitter at casualty_Chris. I do a couple other podcasts. Kolchak Tapes, Chronicles from the Crypt, Dreams for Sale. Just Google those names. You'll find them, I promise. They're not that hard to find. Nothing else sounds like those names. So yeah, you'll find me there. And like just mentioned, the One Season Show. Culturecast.com is where you can find more about this episode and the other episodes. You'll find links over to Patreon. If you want to give us money, cool. If not, okay. Big thanks as always to _91 for the intro music and outro music, which is thunderous. And to Jess for suggesting this movie, helping program the month. Absolutely. The co-pilot in this nightmare of a rocket ship heading towards the sun that is known as the Culture Cast. We're manning it, Captain. We're going in. Oh, God. Oh, jeez.
I'm definitely Bones.
And we'll catch you on the next episode.